Oh yeah, hey, another day at the tower. Tower of Power, Center of Freedom. Yeah, it was a nice day. I don't know where it happened. I never got to experience it. The whole weekend's been like this. So whatever nice day there was, I don't know. Um, yeah, I was gonna talking about being in a world where I don't even want to use the proper slang. Being dissed. I don't know, but like that whole feeling of to be around people, to be around an art scene or whatever you want to call it, institutions or whatever have you, that make it really obvious that they're ignoring you, or make it that because they have some sort of dumb standard in their head that you can't be part of their team, you can't be part of their force, but whatever. I went out to this place called Skewville. And they're like a bunch of cheesy street artists, a bunch of just what happened in New York City, and this is why like companies like fail and a bunch of transplants came to New York City years ago, basically copied what authentic street artists were doing, and of that there were a lot of them that were black, Latino, very few whites, but a couple of whites and a bunch of these white boy white girl transplants came here, stole all that imagery, stole that style, rebranded it, and sold it for like thousands to millions of dollars. And it's upsetting because it's like they co-opted something and they profited off something, and it's basically cultural appropriation to such a horrible degree that I'm surprised no one talks about it. And all the stuff is pretty whack, but they, I guess, align with clothing labels and other stupid things and political campaigns like Shepard Fairey with Obama. I mean, these guys were just cheese balls, and somehow they made their way to fame. Me as an authentic, actual New York City artist, New York City person, born and raised, who took materials like parking meters, animal rides, even ATM machines, and would turn them into works of art. And then when I try to go to these places, like or places like Beyond the Streets or something like that, they look at me like, no, not you. I mean, even though you're from New York City and your work is better than ours, we can't have you involved because of some kind of like fake street cred that they created. And then now the people that are really authentic street artists who are trying to make a buck now can't, because somehow they missed that window. And it's just this kind of crazy, like, I always think about it as like the Wright brothers. Like the Wright brothers pretty much, they didn't invent flight per se, they perfected controlled flying. They were really the kind of the first to kind of make that happen. But they did not really profit from the plane. Like the whole like they never really developed a proper airline. They didn't make millions or billions of dollars. There's no Wright Company Airways. It's like the people that profited this stuff was like Pan Am and people like Howard Hughes and stuff for was it Pan Am? What did he do? American Airlines. I'm sorry, I forget. Anyway, um, if you read up on also about the guy Firestone who invented vulcanized rubber, he was another guy that pretty much died poor. He came up with, so sometimes people that create the idea don't necessarily prosper from the idea. Same thing would happen in the street art world. The people that originated the style went out there and really put in the work to do something different, and as an act of protest, and and a time of urban blight and white flight and all this stuff. And then a bunch of like people from like Ohio came here and were like, oh look, there's street art, it's so urban, let's rip it off and like say that we invented it or did something like. So it's a terrible thing. So like to go to a place, and I go to these like street art things and whatever, they got their hat on sideways and they're like yo 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 bro with their baggy jeans and stuff like that. I'm just like, really, dude? Like, what is it, 1993? I'm sorry. And I'm just like, you just and they're so not hip, but it's like the collective of not hip people makes them hip, and then I'm the outsider. And these people, they've seen me like already 100 times. I went there. Half of the people didn't even want to look at me. They didn't want to even talk to me. And it's just like, like what did I ever do to you? Like I'm, a real person. Like I actually grew up in this environment around guns and drugs and thug life. Whatever. The whole mystique and like, like, well, big deal. That's it's. I knew friends who got shot. I knew friends who went to jail, like real stuff. And it's like, and they made this like such a watered down, commoditized, waterized, homogenized, jazzed, really, poor kind of like, you can't even call it Disney-fied because at least Disney has a quality. This is like, it's like it's well, I'm not gonna. I love Taco Bell, but it's like taking like like a Mexican dinner, and like and then it's Taco Bell. It's taking someplace like what's a really good burger place? I don't know. There's a place in Woodside, Queens called Donovan's Burgers. So these are beautiful burgers, right? And then it's compared to McDonald's. It's just like this is so they're these McDonald's, Sesame Street artists, and they think they're so freaking cool. And money makes things legitimate, so that's how it is. So they get paid because it's like, oh, and so it's just this horrible machine where here's these watered down artists selling it to even more watered down people to the point of like complete dilution. And here I am jumping on the scene. I want to make a buck too. My work is definitely good, definitely better than theirs because at least I invented something. I invented this stuff. This whole miniature thing, that was my idea back already like 10, 15 years ago. Parking meters, I'm the one who started breaking into them on the street. I'm the one who clipped them actually out of the ground. Real kind of like, yeah, risky stuff. And they're like, oh, well, his hat, he doesn't even wear a baseball hat. How can he not wear a baseball hat? I don't like baseball hats because it looks like when I wear a baseball hat, I look like a 12-year-old that's with leukemia. That's why I don't I don't have the skull shape for it. Like my forehead and a ball cap, I look really stupid in a ball cap. And it's like, why don't you say yo yo yo, bro? And I'm like, because I don't speak that way. I speak the King's English, not your whatever urban dictionary that you looked up on your phone English. And it's just like, they got the high top sneakers and and it's like the pants sagging. Like, you really doing that, dude? Are we still doing this baggy pants thing? I don't know. I guess they are. I don't know. It's like, dude, so many people are phonies. Just as we used to say in the old days, they're perpetrating a front.